Hi, everyone. I'm Judith. I'm a Canadian and I'm 80 years old. And today, what I'm going to talk about is maybe just a little bit about myself and why I'm doing this to begin with. Because maybe it's a strange thing to start when you're 80, to start to do something on YouTube. Um, why am I doing this? I've just been feeling for the last number of months that there are things that I want to say about my life and what I've discovered so far. Call it passing on, anything that I've learned, sharing with other people in the hopes that it might be helpful. Um, I'd, I'd like, I would really like it if anything that I've learned along the way, some of those things have been hard learned and some of them have come more easily. But if any of the things that I've learned can help other people, or maybe it's just to reach out and talk to people in some way and start a dialogue going with what you found that works for you and what I found that works for me. If you're older like I am, you may have some things to contribute that would help other people as well, and you could do that through the comments. Um, uh, so I decided I try when I get these feelings that I really want to do something to sit with them for a number of months, and I've been thinking about this for some time now, and so I've just decided to do it. We'll see where it goes. Um, uh, Really, if I can encourage, I try to be an encourager in life of the people I know in life, especially young people, my grandchildren, but also my very grown up children, stepchildren. They are. I would. I really love the idea that Indigenous people have about honoring their elders and honoring the wisdom of their elders. And I'm not saying that I'm wise necessarily, but I think that I've learned some things, as every older person has learned. And maybe I have the ability to talk about them in ways that other people can't really explain. Some other people aren't as articulate about expressing what they've learned. And their lessons may be different from mine, but maybe not. Anyway, so if I can do this, if I can speak up and help anyone, then I really would like to do that. I do have some caveats about that, and I don't want to discourage you from tuning in again to hear what I have to say. But um, I've had a very privileged life, and by that I don't mean that I was raised in a wealthy household with tons of money or whatever. But well, to begin with, I'm a WASP. I'm a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. I've grown up in Canada, in a very peaceful country. I was born at the end of World War II. And so I've never really, the Korean War happened while I was a kid. The Vietnam War happened when I was a young adult. But they have not affected me directly. Um, and and therefore I've lived in a very peaceful time. I haven't had to deal with war, with famine, with I don't know, plagues, all kinds of things that other people in the world have had to deal with. And in that, most of us in North America are very fortunate. I've also been privileged in my life in that I grew up as an only child. I wish I had had brothers and sisters. I would have liked that experience, but that wasn't to be. But I grew up as an adored only child, not spoiled, maybe indulged a little bit, not and not materially indulged, but not not spoiled, but adored, cherished, loved. I have I had parents who were functional adults, who were kind and gentle and loving and caring, who did good in the world. They were both teachers at one point, although my dad stopped being a teacher in order to make enough money to marry my mom back in the early 1940s. Um, I They were religious, mainstream Protestant religion, nothing very extreme, um, and they lived their values, and I was brought up with those values. So I had really a really happy, secure childhood. I also had a materially um, comfortable, comfortable upbringing. My dad always worked, and then when I was 8, my mom went back to teaching, and in 1953, that was really unusual to have a two-income family, but she just had too much energy and couldn't have any more children, and so she had to find an outlet for the energy, and going back to teaching was it. Um, and so we always had an adequate amount of money around. I never had to worry about food or clothing or anything. They had money to help me go to university. Um, and so I've had and then I got skills that I could earn a good income with. So I've never really, aside from one little period of joblessness in my life, which I might talk about some point, I've never really had to deal with financial insecurity, and that's huge. I also was gifted by nature or nurture with a fairly happy disposition with good mental health. Um, I have a basically a cheerful outlook on life, and because of that, um, I've had health issues in my life, physical health issues, but nothing that was ever very painful, and nothing that was life threatening, and nothing that was severely disabling. Although I did have a temporary period a few years ago of a bit of that. Um, I've just really been lucky. I've had two very important relationships, a happy marriage and now a happy partnership. Um, I've had lots of great experiences. I've had challenges, though. No, I have had challenges, but they've been challenges that other people have had. Lots of other people, they haven't. I haven't had trauma. Huge trauma. I've had grief. I lost my husband suddenly 20 years ago. A little over 20 years ago. I've had grief, big grief. I lost my parents ultimately. Although losing your parents is in kind of the natural order of things. Um, but all in all, I've had a pretty happy life, and that has freed me in many ways from having to deal with some challenges that may have shaped me in different ways than I've had. So those are caveats. So you can, I guess the whole thing is, when I have to share, I'll share out of what I know. I understand that it may not be everyone's experience, and that I may not have learned certain things and acquired certain wisdom that other people who have faced bigger challenges will have faced. But take what you like and leave the rest. Whatever I can offer, that's great. And if not, then you'll have to look for other people for that help. Um, so I guess when I share my experience, I'm not saying that mine is the only way. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying always that it was easy. Usually the things I've learned to do, I learn pretty hard. I think I'm an earnest striver. I think I would say that. Um, I work really hard at at doing things, partly likely because I have ADD. I was diagnosed in my 50s with ADD. I don't know about the H part, but attention deficit disorder definitely, and that has given me some challenges. Um, I was also diagnosed with it as having very good management skills, ADD with very good management skills, and I think that's because I'm pretty sure my mom had ADD too, and I learned from her. Um, Instead of my life, so there's always a lot going on in my head. There's always a lot of stuff happening, and it can be very distracting, and I'm impulsive, and I veer off. Oh, look, here's a squirrel, and I get distracted, and I don't move well between tasks. I have some challenges in that regard, and I interrupt people when I don't mean to, and I work really hard at not doing that. But you ask any of my friends, I still do it. Um, but I haven't had such a severe form of it that it impeded my ability to do well in school or to actually keep a tidy home or whatever. In fact, I'm a little the other way. I have to keep a tidy home because the inside's so chaotic that if the outside isn't orderly, I'm just a total mess. So a lot of what I do are ways of that I keep control over things. And that may be different from how other people experience ADD or ADHD, or how they're able to cope with it. Um, and, and likely most of my friends who don't have ADD or whatever, and they see the way that I manage and control my life and the things I have to do to kind of keep on top of it, they just kind of shake their head, including my partner, shakes his head, says, oh my God, I couldn't ever do this. So I'm not suggesting that I'm going to tell you ultimately in other videos all the things that I do, but I am not suggesting that these are things that you need to do all of, but some of them, one or two of them might prove helpful. Whether you have ADD or not, I'm not only talking to people who have ADD, I'm talking to people who just aren't quite sure how to go about accomplishing things, maybe, or aren't quite sure how to get a handle on things. And I'll talk about what I've discovered about that and how it helps me. And also remember, when I talk about all the things I do to stay in control, that I've had 80 years of practicing at this. So I've built up a pretty good repertoire of things that don't take me long to do, really, but take more time than other people have to spend keeping themselves together. And those things, I'm just willing to do them because I found that they work for me. And if they can work for you, great. And if they don't work for you, oh well, what the heck? You've lost a few minutes listening to them and deciding that they don't work. But you can try them. You never know. Anyway, that's a little bit about me. And why I'm doing this. I'm not trying to get monetized. If I ever did try to, I've watched YouTube videos about doing this and people are trying to get monetized, and I'm really not. And the only reason I would do that would be to get this out to more people, not because I want the money. I would have to find a way to give that money away or something, because I really don't. Or to use it for some really good purpose, because I really don't need the money, frankly. But if you'd like to subscribe, then I guess that helps get it out to more people. But mostly just watch, see what you think. Anyway, I'm glad to be here, and we'll see how we go in the future videos. So take care. My whole focus is about how to live with intention, how to live to achieve the goals, to achieve success as you define success. And that's what I hope to be able to pass on. So till the next time, that's it.